everyone, welcome to the QuesterMage and welcome to today's first impressions of Sea of Stars on Nintendo Switch. Now I've been waiting for Sea of Stars on Nintendo Switch for quite a while. It's an indie title that's obviously inspired by many classic games from the 16-bit era. I was very interested in getting the game, but of course, I wanted to wait for the physical retail box version to be available, which it now is, and now I have bought the game. So today I want to talk about my first impressions of Sea of Stars for Nintendo Switch after playing it for a few hours. Like usual, I'm going to talk about things I liked, things I disliked, what I changed, and my overall thoughts so far. So let's start off with things I like. The first thing I liked about the Sea of Stars retail version is that inside the box, one, you get a game, which is a very good start, and number two, we get a double-sided poster. Now the double-sided poster has the same image on both sides, which is a little bit of a shame, but overall, nice to have a collectible inside the box. And next I want to talk about the graphics. Put simply, the graphics in Sea of Stars look great. I think the developer's done a really good job of making this game look like a 16-bit era game whilst using modern effects. We can see here in the title screen that the fireplace is emitting light, and we can see that the shadows are, for lack of a better word, breathing. And I think stuff like this in this game really look fantastic. And obviously this isn't just limited to the start menu. During the game itself, I really noticed a very nice use of lighting. Now in this sequence here, which is during a battle, we can see that one of the enemies casts a summon. We can see the lighting of each character. We can see that the character on the left has a red hue, the one in the middle has a blue hue, if not greenish, and the last one having a yellow/gold hue. These are the sort of small things that really stand out to me. And we can see here in this cave, as we're traversing the world, those colours actually do persist. And here in the cave itself, we can see, I think, a very good use of lighting to make it feel cramped and to make it obvious that there is a foreground and a background. I really think the lighting in this game is something special. Another thing that I noticed graphically about this game is the use of foregrounds and backgrounds. And that is done, I think, very well. We can see an example here of walking through the cave. I really got the sensation of walking in between the foreground and background running across this hallway. I've only played the game for a few hours, but these things really stood out to me. Next would be music. The music is excellent so far. I found myself humming the songs even after I played the game. That's usually a really good indication that the music is good. The music does a great job of conveying emotion, which is very important for character development, especially when you have a game that delivers a story through text. And yes, this game does deliver the story through text, so you'll be doing a lot of reading, but the music does a great job of delivering emotion where you can't obviously convey that with text, but it also keeps the reading from feeling mundane. From traversing the world, combat, being at your campsite, fishing, the music does a really good job of letting the player know what feelings we should be feeling, and I think it does it in a very good way. The overworld map, I think, was a fantastic addition to this game, and I didn't expect to see something like this in the game, and I was very pleasantly surprised. It does have an overworld map where we can just walk around from A to B to go to different areas, and I thought it was a very nice addition. We also can see fishing ponds in this overworld area. Now, I love fishing minigames. I don't know why, it's just something that to me always brings a smile to my face when I play games. Games like Monster Hunter, Potion Permit, Animal Crossing, when there is fishing in the game, that's just something that to me makes me smile, and I don't know why. And this game has a really good fishing minigame. I'll put it up here on screen. You can see the way this works is you have to cast your fishing line and then more or less place your bobble near a fish. Once the fish bites, you have to keep that fish within this, I don't know what you would call it, wake or water lane. So by keeping the fish in this lane, you reel it in all the way to your character, and then you have collected that fish. At the entrance of each pond, we have a sign to denote how many different types of fish there are in that pond, and of course that means we have to collect all of them. And so far, I've been doing exactly that. Quick tip, if you're playing the game and you are at a fishing pond, don't forget you can swim in this game, which means you can swim to the other side of the pond to collect whatever items there are on the other side, because I definitely forgot that you could do that. Next would be the battle system. The battle system is turn-based and does remind you of all turn-based style games. However, in this game, they apply two different things that I really like. One are these orbs. Every time you attack an enemy, you will find that enemies let go of these orbs. You can absorb these into your characters, 1, 2, or 3 of them, to buff your next move. And I think this was a very good move. This actually keeps the combat flow very interesting. There are also enemies that are immune to attacks unless you collect these orbs, which I like because these sort of features add layers onto combat, but nothing overly complicated. There are timed attacks in the game as well, as you can see by the counters on top of the enemies. Some of them will say 3, 2, or 1, and that denotes how many turns left for the enemy to make its move, which is something that I really like because, again, combat keeps you busy. And if it keeps you busy, there's a bigger chance you're not going to get bored. The last thing about combat that I really liked is that when a character gets downed, they are not downed for the rest of the combat sequence. They are downed for a specific amount of turns, and those turns are shown to the player with the stars. If there's 1 star above their head, they're out for 1 turn. If there are 2 stars, 2 turns, so on and so forth. And when that downed character comes back, they come back with half health. Now I really like this because I think it really keeps the momentum of the combat flowing. Really, really nice things to add. Now to me it seems like the developer put quite a lot of thought into this game in general, but in terms of combat it seems like they put a lot of thought into how can we make turn-based gameplay a little bit more involved, and I really like what Sea of Stars has done here. To not make this video very long, I'm going to go quickly through some of the other things that really stood out to me in things that I like. Changing the time of day to complete puzzles in the world, I really like that. Exploring in this game feels very satisfying. You don't just walk around a place. The world has quite a few obstacles for you to jump down, jump up, climb, cross a rope. And these are the sort of things that really came across to me that developers thought, how do we keep the player busy and keep the world fun to traverse? There are treasures in most environments that are optional, but if you want to get to those, you're going to have to traverse a bit more. I really like that because if I see a treasure chest in the game, I need to collect that treasure chest. Stuff like healing, which will be resting in this game, and cooking can be done at a base camp, and the base camp also allows you to talk to other characters. Nice things here, I really like that. Now the very last thing that I want to mention in things that I liked is the story. The story structure for the intro of this game, I think, is very good. Trying not to spoil anything, but I like the way the game story jumps backwards and forwards in the first hour or so, and I think that was a very effective way of getting me to care about each one of the characters, showing their individual personality and keeping me interested in where the story is going. And I have to say this game has done a pretty good job of that. I want to see what happens next. So those are the things that I liked. Again, that's not everything that I liked, but things that stood out to me. Next would be things that I disliked. Weirdly, I really struggled to think of any bad points for this game so far. Maybe by playing this game longer, I will find more things that I dislike, and I can always make an update video to this one if this is something that you would like to see. So what would I change? First of all, voice acting. This is definitely something that is missing for me. Even though, like I mentioned, the game does a good job via music to convey emotion, for me having voice acting in a game really increases immersion. So I would have preferred voice acting to be added to the game and for the story not to just be conveyed in text. Hopefully this is something that can be added in the future. I don't know if it would be, but it's definitely something that I would change and I'd like to see added. Next would be a big update at launch. Once I bought the retail game and put it into my Nintendo Switch, the first things that I check are what version is the game, and 2, is there an update? And this game did indeed have an update, which is not a surprise to many, I understand that, but to me, the surprise was how big this update actually was. I think it took about 15 minutes to update everything, depending on what type of internet connection you have, obviously, but I'm not sure what it actually added. I think this update added co-op multiplayer to the game, but I'm not sure. Now, why is this something that I would change? It's because when there is a physical retail version of a game, I'd prefer that all the content be on the card. Now, the retail version of the Nintendo Switch game is new. Now, why not wait until that update is finished and then put that onto the card so that you can print the complete version to retail? Personally, I don't really care about co-op multiplayer, so for me, the out-of-the-box card is enough. And at least they didn't lock out vital gameplay features. However, if you want to have a physical retail complete version of this game, then this might not be the version for you. As we've been waiting such a long time for this retail version, why not just wait a few more months and then add this content to the physical retail game, so that it could have as much content as possible in the retail box? Just very confusing, and that is something that I would have changed. So those are the things that I liked, disliked, and what I changed. So what are my overall thoughts on Sea of Stars for this first impressions video? So far, the game seems like a really good, modern, classically inspired RPG, which feels right at home on Nintendo Switch. It looks great in docked mode, and it looks fantastic in handheld mode, especially if you have an OLED Switch. The game story so far is interesting. I very much like the idea of the sun and the moon having an active role in the gameplay. The game looks great. Exploration is well thought out in this game. Instead of just walking around, you'll find yourself climbing or jumping to get to a new area. Activities like these are controlled by the player, which keeps you entertained while traversing the game area. And this makes the exploration fun. And as it is fun, I keep checking everywhere to see if anything has been left to collect. The side activities are also really nice so far. Cooking and fishing I very much enjoyed. The cooking is just going through a menu, but the fishing is very good. I think it's very fun. The controls are something I haven't mentioned so far because the controls are actually pretty good. It was like having muscle memory, but for a game you've never played. I do think that there's something special about this game. The character types and emotions are clearly displayed on screen, whether that be music or text, and I hope the character experiences throughout the game allow the characters to grow and change throughout their journey. The combat and general gameplay is simple, but yet keeps your brain occupied. I play many games on Nintendo Switch, but there are definitely some games that stick in your mind more than others. This is my first impressions of Sea of Stars, but I do think this game will be one of the standouts in my Nintendo Switch library. Keeping in mind that I love retro games, so this video is very much based on that mentality. I also waited to buy this game for quite a while as I wanted to buy the physical retail version. And so far the game has been really fun and enjoyable to play. So now I'm going to stop talking about this game and put this video together so I can return back to Sea of Stars and see what else this game has to offer. So what do you think of Sea of Stars on Nintendo Switch? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? How would you change it? Please let me know down in the comment section and let's have a discussion about it. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much again for watching. If you like what I do here, please click that like button down below. Helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to see more, please click that subscribe button, as that is the only way this channel can grow. Now I hope you liked this video and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, thanks again.